If you're a senior, you've probably felt it. You stand up from your chair or your bed, and for a few seconds, the room swims. Your head goes light. Maybe you have to grab something to steady yourself. Most people brush it off as nothing, but that brief dizzy spell has a real name and a real explanation, and understanding it matters more than you might think, because it's closely tied to one of the biggest risks we face as we age: falling. Most people assume that getting lightheaded when they stand is just a harmless quirk of aging, and often it is brief and not serious, but it can also be a signal worth paying attention to. And the good news is, there are simple, effective ways to reduce it once you understand what's happening. Here at Build After 50, we went through the research on blood pressure, balance, and aging. And today, I'm going to explain why you feel dizzy when you stand up too fast, what it really means, and the simple habits that can help keep you steady and safe. And stay with me until the end, because I'll give you one simple technique for standing up that can dramatically reduce that dizzy feeling, something you can start doing the very next time you rise from a chair. Let me give you the picture first, because it explains everything. Think about what gravity does to your blood. When you're lying down or sitting, your blood is spread fairly evenly through your body. But the moment you stand, gravity instantly pulls a good amount of it down toward your legs and feet. Now, in a young, quick-reacting body, the system responds in a flash. The blood vessels tighten and the heart adjusts, pushing blood back up to keep the brain well supplied. But if that response is even a little slow, then for a few seconds the brain runs slightly short on blood, and that's the dizziness you feel. Doctors call this a drop in blood pressure on standing. So the whole issue comes down to one thing: how quickly your body can push blood back up to your head when you rise. Let's look at why that gets harder with age and what to do. Real quick, if this is the kind of practical, useful information you want more of, tap that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more seniors who feel this every day. And as you watch, think about when your dizziness tends to hit. All right, let's get into it. The first reason is simply the aging of the system itself. We'll call it the slower reflex. The automatic reflexes that adjust your blood pressure when you stand naturally become a little slower and less sharp with age, and stiffer arteries don't respond as nimbly. In plain terms, the system that's supposed to instantly push blood back up to your brain takes a beat longer than it used to. This is why this dizziness becomes more common as we get older. Research suggests a notable share of people over 65 experience it to some degree. It's common, but as we'll see, it's not something to simply ignore. The second reason is one of the most frequent triggers and the easiest to fix: dehydration. We'll call it the low tank. When you're low on fluids, you have less blood volume, which makes that drop in pressure on standing more pronounced. In plain terms, less fluid in the system means less pressure to push blood upward when you rise. And remember, our sense of thirst fades with age, so many seniors are mildly dehydrated without knowing it. Simply staying better hydrated is one of the most effective remedies there is. Stay with me, because the third reason catches many people by surprise, and it's about meals. We'll call it the after-dinner dip. After you eat, especially a large or carb-heavy meal, your body sends extra blood to your digestive system to handle the food. That can leave less available to keep your blood pressure up when you stand, so dizziness on rising is more likely in the half hour or so after eating. In plain terms, digestion borrows some of your circulation, leaving less in reserve. If you feel wooziest after meals, this is likely why, and rising slowly then is especially important. The fourth reason is one to handle with care: medications. We'll call it the chemical factor. A number of common medications, particularly some used for blood pressure and water pills, can increase the tendency to feel dizzy on standing. In plain terms, a medicine doing its job may also make that pressure drop more likely. But here's the firm rule: never stop or change a medication on your own. If you suspect a connection, simply note it and bring it to your doctor, who can review your medications and timing. This is one of the most useful conversations you can have about this symptom. And the fifth point is about when it's more than an occasional nuisance. We'll call it the signal worth heeding. For most people, the odd dizzy moment on standing is brief and harmless. But if it's frequent, if it ever causes you to actually faint, or if it comes with falls, it deserves real attention, both because falls are a serious risk for us and because persistent dizziness on standing can sometimes be connected to other conditions your doctor would want to evaluate. In plain terms, occasional is usually fine, but frequent or fainting is a reason to get checked. Please don't tough it out in silence if it's happening often. So let's bring it together. You feel dizzy when you stand because gravity pulls blood into your legs and your body is a beat slow to push it back up. Made worse by the slower reflexes of aging, dehydration's low tank, the after-dinner dip, certain medications, and sometimes other conditions. Each of those points to something you can address. Now, here's the simple technique I promised, and it works wonders. Rise in stages. Never rocket straight up from lying or sitting. Instead, do it in steps. If you're lying down, sit up first and pause on the edge of the bed for a moment or two. Let your body catch up. Then stand up slowly, and before you take a step, steady yourself with a hand on something solid and let any lightheadedness pass. You can even help things along by pumping your ankles, flexing your feet up and down a few times before you stand to nudge blood upward. This staged approach gives your circulation the extra second it needs, and for many people, it nearly eliminates the problem. A few more simple helpers. Stay well hydrated through the day. Be extra careful rising after meals and after a hot bath or shower, both of which can lower your pressure. And make sure your path is clear and well lit so that if you do feel woozy, there's nothing to trip over and something to hold. Protecting against the fall is just as important as reducing the dizziness. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, when does your dizziness tend to strike? First thing getting out of bed, after sitting a while, or after meals? Be honest, because that timing is a real clue, and your answer might help someone else reading understand their own pattern. We read every comment here at Build After 50, and your answers often become our next videos. And before you go, if this helped, the next video you should watch is right here. It explains the real reason your legs feel weak when you stand, which pairs closely with today's topic, since dizziness and leg weakness are often confused. It's a natural next step. If you're new here, Build After 50 publishes new research-based health videos every week, made specifically for adults over 50 who want to stay strong, mobile, and independent for the long run. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so the next one finds you. And one important thing before we close. Everything we share here at Build After 50 is for educational purposes only. It's grounded in research, but it is not a substitute for personalized medical advice. Dizziness on standing has several causes, and only a doctor can review your medications and health to advise you properly. So before you make any changes, and especially if you're fainting or falling, please talk to your doctor. They know your situation better than any video ever could. Here's the thought I'll leave you with. Staying steady on your feet is one of the quiet foundations of an independent life. A few simple habits, rising slowly, staying hydrated, knowing when to ask for help, can keep you upright and confident for years to come. Take care of your body, take care of your mind, and we'll see you in the next one. This is Build After 50. Keep building.